The VA just saved my life, and they're coming after our veterans' benefits, but we're not going down without a fight.
It's Ken Harbaugh with the Midas Touch Network. Far too often, when we talk about what the Trump Musk regime has done, from slashing critical agencies to the inhumane deportations to the total disregard for classified information, we miss the human element, which is why I want to share a video with you from a fellow vet and a friend, Jose Vasquez, who was recently diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. Jose recorded this video shortly after waking up from surgery, still laying on a hospital gurney, having just learned that the Trump-Musk administration had proposed drastic cuts to the VA that saved his life. And so, while still in his surgical gown, Jose shared his thoughts about that awful betrayal. I want you to listen to Jose for a couple reasons. First, to convey just how angry vets are across the country at what Trump is doing. The cuts that he and Musk are proposing are going to affect critical health care that we depend on, that we earned. The fact that a desperately sick vet, still in post-op, decided that the most important thing he could do upon waking up was record a video, it's a sign of how serious this is and a testament to Jose's character. But the other reason I want to share this video is that I think it may give all of us some courage, or at the very least, some encouragement. I want this audience to take heart in the fact that the resistance we have been calling for is finally materializing. We're seeing it in the town halls popping up across the country, in the protest marches, in the small acts of defiance, like lawyers resigning from law firms that have bent the knee. It is being led by ordinary Americans who will not abide what the Trump administration is doing to our country. And it's being inspired by former soldiers like Jose Vasquez, who refuse to die and who urge us from their hospital beds to fight.
Hey folks, this is Jose Vasquez, Executive Director of Common Defense. I'm a U.S. Army veteran, and I'm coming to you live from the Manhattan VA hospital. I just had surgery for pancreatic cancer, and the idea that the Trump administration would want to cut 83,000 positions, fire that many people from the VA facility is just ludicrous to me. The VA just saved my life, and I think it's just a travesty that the administration thinks that this is the right way to move forward with veterans health care. They should be ashamed of themselves for this plan that they're trying to push forward and essentially privatize the VA. So it's real. It's getting real, and they're coming after our veterans' benefits, but we're not going down without a fight.
I got Jose to sit down with me to talk about what's at stake and about how we channel this kind of energy into resistance. Here's part one of our conversation. Jose, thanks for joining, man. Give us an update. How are you feeling? It is good to see you. You look strong, but what you went through is no joke. Give us the sit rep.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Ken. Really appreciate it. Thanks for the concern. As I was just as surprised as anybody else to find out that I had pancreatic cancer. We did some research on the military bases where I was stationed, and it seems as if Schofield Barracks, Hawaii, where I spent about 3 years while I was on active duty, was at the time in the 80s and 90s. I was there from 93 to 96. I was exposed to something in the water table, and particularly pancreatic cancer was linked to whatever contaminants were in the water. And so the EPA actually designated Schofield Barracks as a Superfund site. Obviously, I didn't know any of that when I was Private Vasquez back then. But it seems as if that is where I was exposed. And, I'm 50 years old now. Went to the VA with some concerning symptoms. I had discolored urine and my skin was turning yellow, which is what first clued us in that something was going on. And it turned out that where the tumor was growing was blocking my bile duct. And then it created a backup of bile into the rest of my system, which is what was making my skin, my eyes yellow, and my urine discolored.
Hey, it's Ken Harbaugh. Check out the new trailer for Valor Media Network. Together, we can take on Joe Rogan and his Manosphere Bros and win. Click the link below to subscribe to Valor Media Network and share it with a friend. Thanks, Midas Mighty. We got this.
There's not enough men like me who do whatever they want.
Are you sick of it yet?
Those people need to be, when we take power, they need to be given the death penalty.
The anger.
I live like a capitalist every single day, Cenk. I live as a capitalist.
The hate.
And we have a system of checks and balances. That's a good one. That's really funny. We do?
The idea that to be a man, you have to be a bully. Fuck you! We should be better than this.
Females don't have independent thought. They don't come up with anything.
Our kids deserve better than this.
It's like women want equal rights when it's convenient, but then they still want the door open for them.
So help us change it. Subscribe to Valor Media Network, where you can find shows on sports, men's health, and patriotism without the resentment and division.
True strength is about discipline, resilience, and service.
If you've wondered where all the positive role models are, especially for young men, check out Navy SEAL Dan Barkov and Commander Bobby Jones as they share stories of service and sacrifice.
Being good at being a man is about what you do for others and not what you do for yourself.
Listen to Jason Tander and co-hosts Ravi Gupta and Adisu Demisi give you the inside track on the politics of sports.
I just want to take back what I said about the Bills. No, because in all honesty, your team seems to have gotten the vaccination thing right. Okay. My team seems to be struggling with it.
These shows and many more from Valor Media Network prove that you don't have to be an asshole to connect with young men today. Subscribe to Valor Media Network today.
I was a medic for part of my career in the military, so I quickly understood it's either my liver or my kidneys, something's going on. Went straight to the VA hospital in the Bronx, and then that's when my journey started. So that was February 10th when I had those weird symptoms, and by March 5th, I was on the operating table.
That's incredible. Most of our audience is used to seeing Chris Goldsmith in this slot. You two have a lot in common, but probably the most important thing now is that, as Chris says all the time, the VA saved his life.
Absolutely.
And the VA has problems, right? It always has. It always will. It's gotten a lot better. But one of those problems has never been too much money or too many nurses. Can you talk about the VA that saved your life?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, from February 10th to March 5th, they moved very swiftly. It started with an ultrasound, then it moved to an MRI, and then a CAT scan. And, I had traveled internationally several months prior. And so I was maybe concerned that I had some kind of weird infectious disease. But the doctors were pretty dismissive of that explanation. And so they understood that they were looking at some kind of a mass on my pancreas. And, all credit is due to both the Bronx and Manhattan VA system. They moved me quickly through scheduling various appointments. I had an endoscopy done at the Manhattan VA. Really excellent team. One of the doctors that the sort of lead surgeon on my surgery, trained at Memorial Sloan Kettering, which is like top-notch cancer center here in New York City. So that gave us a lot of optimism and hope. And obviously nothing was guaranteed, but certainly how quickly they moved with the treatment I received. All of the nurses and doctors that I dealt with at the Manhattan VA in particular, which is where most of my inpatient care was, were just excellent, very caring people, if not spread thin. A lot of the nurses, the ratio patient to nurse ratio is pretty high. So even if one person is out sick, that means that other people have to sort of pick up the slack. And just a whole team, kind of an integrated team of physicians coming through, gastroenterology and oncology and various other, ancillary care, physical therapy, you name it. I'm standing here before you because of the excellent care that I received at the VA. And, interestingly, while I was in the VA is when I woke up to the news that there was a leaked memo about the Trump administration trying to cut 83,000 jobs from a system that's already sort of struggling with, staffing. And the idea that somehow that's not going to impact veterans' care, or the fact that they're cutting the Veterans Crisis Line is just ludicrous to me.
That was part one of my conversation with Jose Vasquez. Check out part two tomorrow, where we discuss how to fight back against the Trump regime's slash and burn tactics.